They let us in. About 3 months ago, they let us in, and now they're here. The WYATT SICKS has made their triumphant debut with an incredible entrance this past Monday on WWE Raw. Let's talk about it. The wrestling to me has always been an amalgamation of most, if not all, film genres in one beautifully wrapped package. Yes, give me all of that stuff, please. This seems like something that we've been waiting for a long time, and it's finally come to fruition. There had been rumors and whispers about it after the documentary of Bray Wyatt that maybe, perhaps, we were going to see a shoot-off of what Bray Wyatt was going for before his untimely passing, with a continuation of his story arc where certain wrestlers were going to be playing the characters based off of the dolls in the family funhouse. You've got the pig, you've got the buzzard, you've got the owner type that was played by Mr. McMahon, you've got Uncle Howdy, you've got Sister Abigail. So we had heard rumblings, there were rumors. The thing with the whole stable, a lot of people had questions because it was kind of a dearth of recognizable names. Some people really didn't follow Joe Gacy. Some people didn't really follow Dexter Lumis that carefully. I mean, he had only been in the WWE for a cup of coffee after his run in NXT, and then he had left WWE, and then he had come back to WWE. So there were so many questions about how this was going to play off and if it was even going to work. A lot of people had worried a little bit about them, toying with this and messing with it. The good thing about it is Rob Fee, who is the head of creative for this particular angle, he had worked side by side with Bray Wyatt. He continued to stay with the WWE and, for all intents and purposes, had been working a lot behind the scenes on this type of program that we were seeing for the first time this past Monday, where with him and Jason Baker, who I'm really wondering if Jason Baker is related to Rick Baker, who did The Nutty Professor, Michael Jackson's Thriller, and the movie I grew up watching as a kid, Harry and the Hendersons. Because if so, wow. I mean, the guy did great with The Masks, and with his father's lineage, then they're in great hands. Now, I don't know that for sure. Maybe it's just the last name thing, but I thought that was interesting. Rick Baker did SFX, and Jason Baker doing SFX. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I didn't fact check it or anything like that. But Jason Baker did a phenomenal job on The Masks. So point being, the WWE Universe it was able to see, for the first time, the idea of the WYATT SICKS, and they're spelled SICKS. So WWE has their own sickos now, because the WWE Universe, are they going to change from Fireflies to sickos? Well, I guess we're going to find out. But it was interesting take on the name WYATT SICKS. This seemed a lot more focused and reined in than previous Bray Wyatt segments, and that is no offense intended to Bray Wyatt at all, because I'm sure Bray Wyatt had to do a lot of debating backstage with Vince on what would get to TV, and I'm sure that's a lot of stuff was left on the cutting room floor. But it seemed more reined. It seemed more like there was an intent there to really change the way that we had been looking at the mind of Bray Wyatt and what he was bringing forth going forward. They said that they weren't going to go the spooky route. I'll tell you one thing, it seemed less spooky and more serial killer, more horror movie. Somebody had a lot of dry ice in the back, but to me, all joking aside, it definitely reminded me of something that you would see at a theme park. And I've said it in previous videos, that I believe that the WWE Universe is going to eventually become a theme park. I thought a lot of them selling the company was for the creative licenses and the IPs of a lot of their superstars, and turning it into a theme park where you can go and see the immortal Hulk Hogan, you can see the Undertaker in his last ride roller coaster, you can see like the history of the Hall of Fame, and you can see something like this, which I believe like the Bray Wyatt family fun house is eventually going to be something that you walk through either in Connecticut or Florida or at some place that's stationary that you can go to, very similar to Universal Studios. Maybe it's a part of Universal Studios, or similar to Disneyland. Maybe it's a part of Disneyland, but I feel that it is inevitable that we are going to see that, and I believe we got a little teaser of what it would be. I thought that the single shot was amazing. I thought that took a lot of guts to do that and pull that off without a hitch. I love that they've been doing that recently with a lot of like single shots, like Sami Zayn's WrestleMania 40 entrance was very similar to that. I thought it was really, really, really well done and came off without a hitch. Now, let's get into it, because a lot of the homages that I caught in this single shot of the inevitable debut of the WYATT SICKS, I saw a lot. There was the logo, which to me, it was an homage to Mick Foley's Mankind character, an homage to Raven, and also Uncle Howdy's new getup, obviously an homage, paying homage to Bray Wyatt with the getup. It was almost like a mixture of Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt, and there was also the mask, the new Uncle Howdy mask, or kind of a rendition of the Uncle Howdy mask. It really, really reminded me of The Undertaker circa 1996 at the Royal Rumble when he wore it after he was leg dropped by Yokozuna. Seemed kind of like a callback to that, so I'm digging the homages, the attention to detail there, which I'm really enjoying with the WWE lately. I mean, they don't do anything for no reason. It seems like there is an intent, and there is for all intents and purposes, some cerebral tactics to make sure that every piece of film is done for a reason. I really loved when they were backstage and Drew McIntyre was talking to Triple H. They stuck at the gorilla position for a while so that you can see a little bit of a before and then an after as the WYATT SICKS walked in and left a path of destruction. I really thought that was nice and a way of foreshadowing. They got some great writers. They've all worked in television and film before, and they are utilizing them to perfection. I love it. Eric Rowan with the hammer that has help written on it. A lot of people were saying that could be a metaphor for the fact that the only way that he can help is by hurting other people to save them. Hurt people, hurt other people. I like that idea. There was one idea that I really loved, and it was from Wheezy Blondes on Twitter or X or whatever. Her take is that the Wyatts attacked Gable because he turned his back on family, and maybe going forward they will attack other people who have mistreated their family in the past. Now, if you look at Nikki Cross and Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy, they have all been a part of a family of sorts, and something has happened where their family has split up. So it would make a lot of sense if they start targeting people that were responsible for the destruction or the breakup of certain families. So I would say that Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio might want to watch out going forward, as well as the Bloodline, but I don't know if they're going to cross into that territory. Another question that I was thinking about while I was watching this debut, and a lot of creative inspiration was going through my head about where they would go with it next, because I mean, they're really going to have to follow up. Do they follow up on SmackDown? Is this a Monday Night Raw exclusive? These are a lot of the questions that I was coming up in my head about while I was watching this play out, because they could go so many different routes. I don't know if they want to rein in on the WYATT SICKS being an exclusive Monday attraction just yet, but if putting them on SmackDown would happen, who do they attack and why? And if they came out and left a path of destruction on SmackDown, what about NXT? Is NXT off? Should they do it in NXT? Another thing I was thinking of is, what if they do it in the Impact Zone in TNA? Show up in Noah. I like the idea of that a lot. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen a formation of a stable that came in and left a mark the way that they did. We've had a couple of duds, not going to lie. Retribution, Nexus was really good, but the Retribution didn't go off as planned. But you got to understand that the Retribution showing up was in the throes of the COVID pandemic, so it was really, really hard to probably execute that the way that they wanted to. I mean, if you look on the other side of the spectrum with AEW's debut of Matt Hardy, imagine what that would have done if we would have had a crowd. Same with Brody Lee's TNT title reign. Imagine if we would have had that with a crowd. These are things that I will give a pass for Retribution for things like that as well. But then you had the Nexus. Before that, for me growing up, it was the NWO. When they debuted and left a path of destruction, it was all anybody would ever talk about. There's another one called Stop the Matsunaga, Mitsuhiro Matsunaga's path of destruction for Zero Max. I mean, that's one of the stories that I heard when I first started to get into Japanese wrestling, that was the one program that you really had to check out. And it's worth checking out. I think I'll leave a hype video package for that one in the description, so that you can check that out and get versed in it if you're into Japanese wrestling, or if you're into just great storytelling. That's a really great story there. But back to the Wyatt Six. Where do they go from here? Do they show up in TNA, NXT, and SmackDown, or are they just going to be exclusive to Monday? I would like to see them show up anywhere to kind of give you that feeling of like doom is right around the corner and it could be around every corner. Like, I love that idea. I think that they should really flesh that into their universe and do more of that. Now, who could be the sixth member? The sixth member has been a mystery. Is it the spirit of Bray Wyatt? Is it Alexa Bliss? Is it going to be Braun Strowman? That was one of the things when I had a video where I initially talked about this. I was kind of summating that Braun Strowman is kind of a given, right? Because of his history there. And he has been different. He's been interesting. He's been overly positive and nice. It seems like he's hiding something, and he's just been kind of thrown out there. His debut, he was helping the younger guys. It seemed like he was trying to make up for the things of the past, where he was kind of dissing, for a lack of a better term, on some of the younger high flyers, the shorter independent guys. So maybe this was his way of making peace with that. It was a very interesting route that they've taken with Braun Strowman. I mean, when he before he got hurt, it was with Ricochet. When he came back, he was talking to Ricochet and whatnot. So maybe he's running from something, and maybe the Wyatt Six is something that he can go to, or maybe that's the first feud that you have, is Braun Strowman and his rebellion against the Wyatt Six, letting them know that, Bray Wyatt is no longer around and you guys need to let this go. And then you get into some really interesting storytelling there, very emotional, drama-based storytelling. If you have Braun Strowman going against Uncle Howdy, I think that would be a very interesting start to the program if you do something like that, given the history, because the story right there would write itself. That's a very interesting route to take. Also, the sixth member, to me, this is a stretch. This is a long shot. I don't see this ever happening, but Karrion Killer Kross. I thought that in many ways he predated the Eerie video packages way before Bray Wyatt. If you remember, many years back, Kross was rumored to be in the Wyatt Six stable. So this would be an interesting way of doing that. I know that's a long shot. I know that's probably not going to happen. He's already got his stable with the Final Testament, the AOP, Paul Ellering and Scarlett and whatnot. But I thought it would be interesting because Killer Kross is one program away from being a superstar, in my opinion. And if you saw in the video, a lot of people are going back and looking at some of the people that were attacked outside of Chad Gable, who was 100% obvious. A lot of people say they saw Xavier Woods, so that would be interesting. I don't know if that was Xavier Woods. There's a lot of rumors, an innuendo about maybe it was Gunther. I thought I saw Gunther initially, and I even put it on my X account that I thought it was Gunther, but I don't know. I mean, that would be a lot to have Gunther looking vulnerable right before his SummerSlam match, so I'm not sure. But a lot of people were saying they saw Road Dogg, Triple H. A lot of people were saying they saw Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio. Who knows? I mean, it could have been Shane McMahon in there. Jim Ross was probably there. I mean, who knows? I'm just kidding. But, you never know. It would be interesting to see who they end up, revealing as the people that were attacked in this whole debut sequence here, this path of terror, if you will. The Wyatt Six definitely made a mark, and it's going to be interesting. A lot of questions, a lot more questions than there are answers, and I cannot wait to see how they follow up on this program. Definitely was a big moment, and I'm sure it made Bray Wyatt smile. In the spirit of what he was trying to get across with his creative inspiration and his creative input into this character, Bray Wyatt, that has evolved right before us. I remember watching him with the Wyatt family, and I mean, just enthralled in everything that he did. And he was a very special human being, and a lot of the stuff that he was able to do, it's going to be really hard to duplicate that. And I love that they're not trying to duplicate it. They're trying to close the chapter on it and finish it the way that he would have wanted to finish it, and having his brother Bo Wyndham or Bo Rotunda or Bo Dallas actually finish the story for him. It's beautiful, and I'm sure that there is some catharsis there for Eric Rowan and Bo and everybody that was involved in Bray Wyatt's life, everybody that he impacted in his life. And I cannot wait to see what they are going to go with next, and I can't wait to see what's around the corner. But you guys let me know what you think. What did you think? Was it an impactful debut? Was the entrance everything that you thought it would be and more? You guys let me know in the comments who's going to be the sixth member. Let me know. Is there anything that I missed as far as like the breakdown of this? Any Easter eggs that I might have missed out on from the QR codes or anything? Please let me know in the comments. I'm loving the evolution of our comment section. It is growing by leaps and bounds, and I just love the conversation. This is something that I've loved since I was a kid, since it was one of my earliest memories is professional wrestling. So I definitely enjoy talking about it. I definitely enjoy throwing out theories and all that stuff. And hey, I'm one of the weird ones that even likes the fantasy booking aspect of seeing what's going to happen next and where we're going to go with that. So I'm always down for that in the comments. But you guys make sure you leave a thumbs up on the way out. That's that little thumbs up button there. That's the like button. And subscribing is completely free. We're growing subscribers every day in this community. The portal of pro wrestling is always open for you guys. And make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. And we're going to see you real soon, you guys. Take care.